Join us on Patreon and become part of our journey to uncover history's untold stories. Your support helps us create in-depth content, bring hidden narratives to life, and keep history alive for everyone.
There is something hauntingly beautiful about the mysteries buried deep within Ethiopia's sacred traditions. Beneath the soaring peaks of the Simien Mountains and along the mist-veiled corridors of Lalabella's rock-hewn churches lies a spiritual heritage older than most civilizations still alive today. In this land where time seems to walk with eternity, echoes of divine conversations, angelic warnings, and demonic portals continue to resonate through the ancient scrolls of Ge'ez, the sacred language of Ethiopia's earliest biblical manuscripts. And among these spiritual texts, one chilling phrase stirs the imagination and stokes the fires of theological debate: the gates of hell. Is this merely a metaphor? Or did Ethiopian sages truly believe in the existence of a literal, terrifying gate through which evil could enter, or souls could be cast? To explore this question, one must travel not only through the pages of Scripture but also through the folds of time, back to the dawn of the Ethiopian Church, to its mythical forefathers, and to the sacred mountains and deserts where prophets, monks, and kings once walked, and where heaven and hell were never far apart. Ethiopia, unlike any other nation on the African continent, possesses a form of Christianity so old and unbroken that it retains links to Judaism and apocryphal mysticism lost elsewhere. The Ethiopian Orthodox Tewahedo Church holds within its scriptural canon not only the 66 books familiar to Western Bibles, but also ancient texts such as 1 Enoch, Jubilees, and the Book of the Covenant. These writings are not marginal. They are central to Ethiopian theology, cosmology, and eschatology. It is within these broader traditions that we first find references, not merely to hell as a destination, but to a gate that leads into it. The Book of Enoch, 1 Enoch, preserved in its entirety only in Ge'ez and considered canonical by the Ethiopian Church, gives us some of the earliest and most vivid visions of hell in pre-Christian literature. In chapters 21 to 22, Enoch, taken by the angel Uriel, is shown a place of terrible punishment with fiery columns of torment. He speaks of a vast and dark hollow in the western mountains, a mouth, a chasm, believed by some interpreters to be the gate into Gehenna. The description is explicit, not metaphorical. Enoch says he saw the souls of the dead, both the righteous and the wicked, and that a great division existed between them. For the wicked, there was torment and darkness beyond what human mind can comprehend. Many Ethiopian monks and sages through the centuries believed that this chasm referenced by Enoch was not symbolic, but a literal location, possibly connected to volcanic or abyssal regions in Ethiopia's own geologic terrain. The Afar Depression, with its boiling sulfur lakes and otherworldly landscapes, has often been associated by locals with the mouth of hell. Its Dala volcano is considered one of the hottest places on Earth, and in Ethiopian folklore it is seen as a cursed and forbidden land. Could this be the terrestrial counterpart to the gates Enoch saw? Furthermore, in the Ethiopian version of the Book of Baruch, also part of the Orthodox canon, we find a dialogue about the punishment of nations and the fate of those who rebel against the Most High. Here again is a mention of a mouth that opens to receive the wicked, a gate made of fire and darkness, guarded by angels of destruction. This gate is described as a boundary between the realm of the living and the house of despair. It is not metaphor. It is location. It is warning. One of the most enigmatic sources comes from the Kebra Nagast, the 14th century Ethiopian national epic. While the Kebra Nagast is best known for tracing the Solomonic lineage of Ethiopia's kings, it also weaves into its narrative tales of demonic powers and divine battles. It speaks of the demons that once ruled before the coming of the Ark of the Covenant, and of the places they were banished to when light overtook darkness. These places, according to the text, were chained beneath the earth, and behind the gate which no man should open. The phrase behind the gate suggests not just imprisonment, but containment. Ethiopian tradition holds that King Solomon himself sealed away many demons, just as is told in other traditions such as the Testament of Solomon, and locked them in hidden places with divine seals. The implication is that hell is not only future punishment but a present threat, just behind the veil of the visible world. The homilies of the Archangel Michael, another beloved Ethiopian religious text read during feast days, describes Michael as the one who watches the gates of both paradise and Sheol. The homily includes a vision in which a righteous soul is almost pulled through a fiery doorway by a demon, but is rescued at the last moment by the archangel. The gate is described as a portal, a flaming boundary that separates the damned from the saved. Again, this is not presented allegorically. It is visual, spatial, and terrifying. These Ethiopian depictions are not entirely without biblical parallels. In the New Testament, in Matthew 16 verse 18, Christ tells Peter that the gates of hell shall not prevail against the church. In most Christian traditions, this phrase is spiritualized. But in Ethiopia, it is understood within a broader metaphysical framework inherited from books like 1 Enoch and Jubilees, a worldview in which gates of hell are real structures, real thresholds in the spiritual realm, often manifest in the physical one. Ethiopian monks, especially those of the monastic schools in Debre Damo and Lake Tana, have passed down oral traditions for centuries. Some of these traditions describe how ancient righteous men were warned by angels to avoid certain caves, certain ravines, because those places were the mouths of torment. Even today, pilgrims journeying through holy landscapes like Lalibela are taught to pray before entering certain churches carved deep into rock, churches that symbolize the journey into death and resurrection, but which also, in architectural form, mimic the descent into the underworld. In fact, the very path to Lalibela's most famous church, Bet Georges, the Church of St. George, descends through a trench that locals refer to as the Valley of Death. It is a gate, in symbolic form, to the lower world. Ethiopian liturgy also supports this imagery. During the season of Fasika Easter, liturgical readings focus on Christ's harrowing of hell, his descent into Sheol to break the gates and free the righteous dead. The chant includes the line, "He shattered the bars of iron and broke the gates of fire." The gates of fire is a recurring phrase in Guizi liturgical texts and hymns. Its usage is not poetic license. It is theological testimony. From a historical perspective, these beliefs trace back not only to Ethiopian Christianity, but even deeper, to the Judaic and pre-Judaic spiritualism that migrated southward from the Levant through Egypt and Nubia into ancient Aksum. The belief in underworld gates is also prominent in ancient Mesopotamian religion, especially in the myths of Inanna and the seven gates of the netherworld. Given Ethiopia's ancient trade and cultural contact with both Arabia and the Near East, it is likely these beliefs interwove with indigenous African traditions to produce a uniquely Ethiopian cosmology where spiritual geography mirrored terrestrial reality. Today, the gates of hell in Ethiopian tradition remain potent symbols, but they are also believed to be spiritual locations. Some say beneath the volcanic badlands of the Afar, others say hidden within monasteries, sealed by angelic might. What's certain is that for Ethiopian theology, hell is not some vague future event. It is a place, bordered by fire, entered through gates that still may lie open to the unwary. Whether one believes these gates exist in the material world, or only within the soul, the Ethiopian witness stands as one of the oldest, richest, and most haunting in the history of religious thought. It invites us not to scoff, but to listen, to tread carefully through history, where scripture and terrain, faith and fear, eternity and earth collide in whispers older than the pyramids.